It's in a area that we call Uptown.
And it's full of very expensive apartments, nice restaurants.
No, all I heard was screaming and then a loud pop, and then I saw her laying on the floor.
Kendra was the All-American beauty, captain of her high school cheerleading team. It just didn't make sense.
And so at this point, we're asking for the public's assistance in identifying and locating that vehicle and any occupants that may have been in that vehicle at the time.
Normally when we bring people in that are suspects in murder investigations, they're super nervous and kind of closed off and guarded. Brenda was the exact opposite of that. Would you say it's a big coincidence that your ex-boyfriend's girlfriend ends up dead?
All Brenda could talk about was Ricky and Kendra, and how she wanted someone to hurt Ricky or Kendra.
Today we are announcing the addition of capital murder suspect Brenda Delgado to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list.
Why did she want to get rid of Kendra Hatcher?
Because she was envious of her.
I couldn't imagine who would do it. I couldn't imagine who would hurt her.
Who the hell do you think you are, Brenda?
Your wife is in a bar. You said she's unresponsive.
This is what he's going to tell you.
How to get out of that situation.
And I grabbed the gun.
Trying to find the first place to put a body.
No, sir.
The only thing they could do was kill him.
You want to say anything? We, the jury, and to find the defendant.
Hi, someone just got shot in the parking lot of the Gables Park 17 in P1.
They got cameras that come in and out of this place?
Yeah, they're checking on it right now.
Okay, did you see someone that was shot?
Yeah, no, all I heard was screaming and then a loud pop, and then I saw her laying on the floor, and it was like red, like blood coming out of her neck. And her bones on the floor, her car door was open. I don't know what happened.
She has a police badge on her sun visor.
Watch where you step. Step back over there for me, okay? Just to let you know, there's one homicide detective for the entire city tonight. He knows about this.
I just arrived home, and it was one of those things where I made a quick U-turn, hopped in my car, and started headed back to Dallas.
When Dallas homicide detective Eric Barnes got the call, he was surprised about the location of the shooting.
It's in a area that we call Uptown, and we don't normally have a lot of violent crime in that area.
And it's full of very expensive apartments, nice restaurants.
Reporter Skip Hollinsworth covered the case from the start for Texas Monthly.
This is an upscale world where there are no shootings in the parking garage. There is no desperate acts done by people. It just didn't make sense.
Initially, the first thing that came to mind was that it was probably a robbery. We found out her name was Kendra Hatcher. She had moved to the Dallas area where she was working at a pediatric dentist office in Irving, Texas.
Kendra was the All-American beauty, captain of her high school cheerleading team. She was a devoted Christian.
She was my yoga student. She was amazing. She was beautiful, outspoken, just the beautiful smile. And, why her? Cannot believe her. Why it has to be her?
We got surveillance footage from the parking garage. It was kind of grainy, but we were able to determine that there was a vehicle that pulled in, kind of circled the garage for a little bit, and parked near her vehicle, or parked where her parking spot was prior to the shooting. During the time that Kendra came in and parked, she had been in her parking space for maybe 2 seconds before an individual got out of the back of this vehicle and walked towards her car, and we believe that was the shooting.
I want to talk about the homicide that occurred on Cedar Springs last night. And so at this point, we're asking for the public's assistance in identifying and locating both that vehicle and any occupants that may have been in that vehicle at the time.
Kendra's boyfriend, Dr. Ricardo Paniagua, was the first to respond.
And he informed me that the individual that he saw on the surveillance footage and from the still photo reminded him of his girlfriend, Brenda Delgado.
His ex-girlfriend.
He told me that they dated for a couple years, that they actually lived together. They broke up prior to him dating Kendra.
And then the homicide tip line got a call from an auto mechanic who said he was the owner of the Jeep Cherokee.
Coincidentally, once I started talking with him, he brought up Brenda's name again. And so she was having mechanical issues with her car, so he provided his Jeep as kind of a loaner vehicle for Brenda. Things are starting to line up pretty quick, and I'm thinking Brenda is definitely someone we need to talk to. Like I said, I appreciate you coming down to talk to me.
Yes, sir. Of course. Tell me what I can help with.
Okay.
Brenda Delgado was the daughter of a Mexican factory worker who came to Dallas so she could get a good education.
She wanted to go to college, but her parents couldn't afford it. So she decided to become a dental hygienist. She went to an evangelical church. She was very loyal to her family, to her friends. She didn't drink too much. She didn't flirt too much.
Of course, I'm working a murder investigation.
Yes.
Young lady was killed on Wednesday, and I'm the guy that's assigned to the case. Your name came up in the investigation, so I wanted to sit down and talk with you.
Yeah.
Kind of.
How did my name come up? I don't.
Okay, I'll explain all of that to you.
Yes, I want to know.
Normally, when we bring people in that are suspects in murder investigations or persons of interest in murder investigations, they're super nervous and kind of closed off and guarded. And Brenda was the exact opposite of that. She was very friendly. She appeared to be trying to build a personal relationship with me at the same time I'm trying to build one with her.
I am second. I like that.
Yeah. I had a I am second bracelet that I wear. You know, I was volunteering as part of an organization to help out with kids that were arrested for violent crimes. And she immediately started telling me, oh, I'm a member of that, I believe, you know, in Jesus. And she was trying to build a bond with me through my religious affiliation.
I'm part of it. Yeah. All my family, they're true believers, and I want to cooperate. I want to know what's going on, and I want you to.
Okay. Well, I would be 100% honest with you.
Yes.
That's what you can count on from me.
And I will be too.
She, of course, told me that, you know, she knew about the murder based off of the news, but she had no idea who Kendra Hatcher was. This is the picture of the young lady that got killed. Never seen her before?
I've never seen her.
Okay. You know, she was a dentist.
Mm-hmm. I don't have no idea who she is, who she's dating, the name, I have no idea. He just kind of said, hey, I'm seeing someone.
But Brenda had a solid alibi. She had been at a library all day studying with a classmate for her dental technician's license.
Okay.
And I studied from maybe 12 all the way to about 6.
And then to a Chili's restaurant with another friend.
All right, you said you had the receipt in your bag?
Yeah, I can show you.
Yeah, let's get that.
Yeah, of course. I thought I can give you other numbers I can.
And she had a receipt at the very top of her wallet that she was ready to hand off, you know.
We closed out at 8. Actually, it was later. 8:57.
Okay, you closed out at 8:57. It was a little too good. Do you mind if I hang on to this?
Go ahead. No, yeah, keep it.
Okay.
I don't need it.
But it did prove that it could not have been Brenda seen on the surveillance video driving the Jeep Cherokee. And then Brenda said she knew who was driving the car that day, a friend of hers named Crystal.
No, it wasn't me. It was Crystal, the girl that took me.
Okay.
Because I didn't have a car.
So did Crystal borrow a vehicle?
Yes. It was Crystal borrowed her vehicle to take me to the library.
Okay, so where did Crystal borrow one of his cars?
Yes.
What kind of car did she borrow?
It was that car.
Crystal borrowed his Jeep? Okay.
That car, I think, yeah. That car. That Jeep that used to show me in the picture.
Yeah, there was very little resistance at all when I asked about who Crystal was and if I could get a phone number. She was ready to serve Crystal up on a dish.
And soon Crystal was in an interrogation room down the hall from Brenda with her own story to tell.
We kind of had a game of cat and mouse going.
We are digging for new details this morning in the murder that has shaken a Dallas community.
This murder has really rocked their sense of security.
At this point, no word on who the suspect or suspects may be.
Detectives have been out all night and throughout today, canvassing the other businesses in the area, looking for additional evidence, surveillance footage, what have you, talking with residents, talking with potential witnesses.
And now at the Dallas Police Headquarters, a kind of Texas two-step was underway. In interrogation room number 2, Brenda Delgado, wrapping herself in blankets in the air-conditioned room with an airtight alibi and claiming total ignorance of what happened. Down the hall, in interrogation room number 4, a woman named Crystal Cortez, a friend of Brenda's, and a challenge for Detective Eric Barnes.
Her stories were all over the place, and she's a pathological liar.
But Crystal Cortez readily admitted being the driver of the Jeep Cherokee tied to the murder scene.
She gave me 3 or 4 different stories about where she was at, how she ended up in the parking garage, what happened once she got in the parking garage.
Her first version was that a masked man forced her to do it.
The guy gets in my seat and he puts the gun right here. My son's in the back. My son is in the back. My instinct is I'm just shocked and nervous as anybody else.
You know, that sounded like something out of a Hollywood script, and murders just don't happen like that. So one of the things we used to kind of defeat that story was the surveillance footage.
The footage showing she made no effort to take off once the gunman left the car.
One of the last stories that she told me was that Brenda hired her to go to this parking garage, and she wanted Kendra Hatcher's purse, and specifically her ID card.
All for just $500 and some drugs, according to Crystal.
And now I have money exchange for a robbery that took place, and the shooter is in the car, so now we have a capital murder. I had enough to put Crystal in jail at that point. I couldn't wait to get back in the room with Brenda. Now I actually have some teeth and actually some traction on this investigation. And I just got done talking to Crystal. We had a very interesting conversation. And I know that you haven't been truthful with me. Okay. So I know what this is about. And so what I'm asking you for is for the truth.
I mean, that's the truth. I was not driving.
Okay, I know you weren't driving. I know you weren't there. I know who was driving. I know Crystal was driving. Okay? And I know what happened. Okay? And I know what the agreement that you made.
There was no agreement. I mean,
no agreement. So now I start going back to work on Brenda. I didn't quite have enough. I need a little more from her. Something that I could use against her to arrest her. Would you say it's a big coincidence that your ex-boyfriend's girlfriend ends up dead and your friend ends up driving in the same parking lot that this happens at around the same time that it happens in a Jeep that you borrowed?
I think Crystal borrowed the Jeep. I think that's what we're getting, because I wasn't. She needed the car. Okay. I didn't need the car.
But even that, okay. The young lady that ends up dead, her boyfriend, the relation is you. You to him, to her. Crystal ends up in this parking garage. Your friend, your friend's Jeep, your ex-boyfriend's girlfriend. All 3 of those things point back to you. That is you. You're the common theme in all of these things. So what I'm asking you is, how does this happen? The Mr. Nice Guy routine was out the window, and I needed to shake her up a little bit because emotionally she was still unbothered. You know, she was still playing the sweet and innocent role. This isn't rocket science. People will put this together very fast. That's why I'm asking you, why?
No, I'm telling you, I didn't do anything. I had no motive.
You had plenty of motive. There's plenty of motive. I think it was hate. I think you hated the fact that you weren't good enough. That's the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. You weren't good enough for Ricky. Maybe he didn't like the way you looked.
I didn't.
Maybe something you did got on his nerves. Maybe he didn't want a dental hygienist anymore. Maybe he wanted a dentist. Maybe you just weren't good enough for him. Maybe his standards were a little bit too high for you. But for whatever reason, you weren't good enough for him. And that's a hard pill to swallow.
I mean, I don't have any feelings like you were saying. I really don't have any. Like, I didn't even know who the girl was. I had no idea.
That's not true. You know who his girlfriend is. Just like you knew where he was taking his salsa lessons at, because you follow him.
Her ex-boyfriend, the doctor, had told Detective Barnes that Brenda suddenly showed up where he was taking salsa lessons, and then suddenly showed up on a running path where he was jogging.
Crystal has no reason to want her dead. You know who has the motive? You know what Crystal's motive was? To make some money to feed her kid. And I can understand that. You took advantage of that.
No.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You took advantage of her. And you paid her to do your dirty work.
No, that's not true. I told you it was just very casual. I have no motives for this guy.
No motives for who?
For Ricky, there's nothing. There's nothing there. There's no motive.
So why do you want his girlfriend dead?
I don't. I didn't even know who he was seeing. I don't even know who he was dating.
Okay. You don't know. You don't know. Give me a second.
Can I just get my attorney at this time? Because I don't think I just need my attorney because you're not understanding me. You're not listening to me. You're not understanding me.
It's either,
I have no...
Here's the thing. It's either yes or no. It's either yes, we can continue this conversation, or no, you need your attorney. I knew that I had the right person.
But prosecutors told Barnes he still did not have enough to charge Brenda Delgado with murder. So the best they could do was hold her for outstanding traffic tickets.
And due to crowding issues at the jail, they expedited the amount of time that she was held there. So she wasn't held too long, just several hours. Within 48 hours of her being at our office, being questioned on this murder, she was en route to Mexico.
Today we are announcing the addition of capital murder suspect Brenda Delgado to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list, and announcing a reward of up to $100,000 for information leading to her arrest. Delgado should be considered armed and dangerous, given her alleged crime involved the use of a firearm.
She became one of the few women in American history who was on the FBI's 10 most wanted list.
Once I found out she left the country, I shifted my focus more into figuring out who my gunman was.
Detective Barnes discovered there was a common number in the phone records of both Brenda Delgado and Krista Cortez.
And I'm interviewing Crystal, and I show her the phone number, and she tells me that's his number. That is the shooter's number.
His name was Christopher Love, known to police as a small-time marijuana dealer.
It's a Miranda warning. You have the right to remain silent, not make any statement at all. I think we may have had him in the interrogation room somewhere between 21 and 22 hours in total.
A dentist?
A dentist. Female dentist, white female named Kendra Hatcher. Was killed in a parking garage.
Nah, that was the game thing to me.
Okay.
I don't even know what that's it. A white dentist, man, be serious.
Well, I'm just saying, you know.
And what about someone named Brenda or Crystal?
Yeah, you ever seen this girl?
Is she white?
She's Hispanic. She looks white, got light skin.
I don't know her though.
You don't know her? Okay. But what is it?
I don't know these people. Are they white or missy?
Love repeatedly denied being the man in the surveillance video, even denied that he owned a gun.
I ain't threw no guns. I ain't had no guns. I ain't shot nobody.
All right. Hey, man, do me a favor. Sit tight, I'll be right back.
Love's car had been towed into the auto pound, and after first failing to find a weapon, an ATF explosive-smelling dog named Titan happened to be there for a demonstration.
And Titan led him straight to the gun. It was on the passenger side of the vehicle, just underneath the center console. We did a search warrant on your car, and we found a gun in your car.
So y'all found a gun in my car?
Under the center console? This gun right here. You ever seen that gun before?
Yeah.
You have? Whose gun is that? That's your gun? Okay.
Tonight, we announce the arrest of Christopher Love, the person we have identified as having shot Dr. Hatcher.
So now the murder board looked like this. Brenda Delgado at the center, alleged to have hired Christopher Love and Crystal Cortez to murder her ex-boyfriend Ricky's new love, her rival, Kendra Hatcher. Friends and family told reporter Skip Hollingsworth how Brenda's breakup with Ricky took over her life.
All Brenda could talk about was Ricky and Kendra, and how she wanted someone to hurt Ricky or Kendra. She was falling apart. She was descending into this darker world that she had never been in.
And when police finally downloaded Brenda's phone, they found dozens of pictures of Kendra and Ricky.
What Ricky didn't know was that Brenda had a kind of spy operation going on. She had access to his iCloud, to his texts, to his phone calls. And she realizes they're going to Cancun. And she wants to kill Kendra before Ricky gets the chance to take her to Cancun. And suddenly, Brenda, the Christian girl who had raised herself on her own bootstraps, had a team of hitmen ready to help her out for $500 to kill her romantic rival.
Kendra was gunned down the night before she and Ricky were scheduled to fly to Cancun. Before being taken away to jail, Christopher Love had one last question.
When y'all going to get Brenda?
We're gonna work on getting Brenda, man.
Hey, y'all gonna work on it. Y'all need to go get her. Y'all came and got me.
What's that?
Y'all came and got me. Y'all need to be going to get her.
We're going to get her.
Cause she the puzzle y'all, the top of the puzzle y'all need.
In speaking with him, he told me that Brenda promised him a lifetime supply of cocaine and drugs. I think he was overpowered by the idea that he was gonna be the next biggest drug dealer in Dallas.
The murder trial of Christopher Love took only a few days, and he faced the death penalty after rejecting a deal for him to testify against Brenda.
Love was very adamant that he didn't want to take anything. He was not interested in testifying against anybody.
But Crystal Cortez had accepted a plea deal for 35 years, and she was the main witness against Love.
One of the plans were to inject her with the needle. Another plan was to shoot her directly, and another plan was to kidnap her.
And did Mr. Love have a plan that he preferred?
He pretty much said that it would be easier just to kill her with the gun.
Crystal obviously was the glue that put the whole case together. The videotape was the strongest evidence, certainly, but Crystal came in and pointed and put together the pieces and the background for everything that took place.
State's Exhibit 110, do you recognize this photograph?
That's my hand with money in it.
That's my what?
My hand with money in it.
The $500 in bills arranged in the shape of a heart.
Okay. And what's the significance of this money?
That was my payment for completing the task of driving Christopher Love to kill Kendra Hatcher.
And I'll never forget interviewing Crystal in the jail, and I said, "Why would you do that? A murder for $500? And she said, "You don't know what it means to be broke, do you?"
The cross-examination of Crystal Cortez was brutal.
The only thing that means anything to you is saving Crystal Cortez.
No, sir.
Well, what means something to you, ma'am?
It does mean that there will be justice for Kendra Hatcher.
Oh, so all of a sudden now you're worried about justice for Kendra Hatcher?
Yes, sir.
The jury took 3 hours to reach its verdict on Christopher Love.
Sir, has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
And is your verdict as follows? We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant guilty of capital murder as charged in the indictment.
Yes.
And that is the unanimous verdict of the jury. Thank you, sir, for your deliberations.
At the sentencing, Kendra's sister Ashley spoke for the family back in Illinois.
Her family will never be the same. The This doesn't happen in Central Illinois. We didn't know that evil like this existed. She was full of life and full of love and just gave everything she had to everybody. And when I heard that this had happened to her, I know I'm getting off topic, but I couldn't imagine who would do it. I couldn't imagine who would hurt her because nobody disliked her. Nobody would have heard of her that knew her.
I have received a unanimous verdict from the jury. Mr. Love, would you stand, please, sir? You shall be confined until the director of that institution receives an order by this court to carry out the sentence of death by lethal injection. Good luck to you, sir.
And now the focus shifted to Brenda Delgado, a $100,000 reward on her head.
And there's people that'll give up their own mother for $100,000. So within a few hours, we were able to get some credible tips on where her location was.
And after 6 months on the lam in a small town in Mexico, Brenda Delgado had been tracked down and extradited to the United States to stand trial for murder. Detective Barnes was at the airport when she arrived.
You know, my eyes were saying, I told you I was gonna get you.
And now to Texas, where a second person is on trial over the alleged love triangle murder-for-hire plot, which left a young dentist dead.
The Christopher Love trial was almost like an appetizer. Brenda was the main course.
Thank you, sir. To the indictment, has your client plead guilty or not guilty?
Your Honor, not guilty.
Thank you.
She had her hair back and she was wearing thick glasses. She looked scholarly. She looked harmless. She looked like a librarian.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Dallas County Assistant District Attorney Kevin Brooks delivered the opening.
At the end of this trial, we will have shown you beyond all reasonable doubt that Kendra Hatcher is dead, and she's dead because of the actions of one person, or the planning of one person, the desire of one person. Sitting right there.
I think the prosecution was really buttoned up. It felt to me like they were smart.
Juror Casey Miller had his eyes on Brenda throughout the opening statement.
She had a stone-cold face, just sort of sat and stared.
Defense lawyer George Milder knew the case would hinge on the testimony of Crystal Cortez, who he said was the mastermind of a robbery gone bad.
I expect these police and everybody are going to say, well, Crystal Cortez didn't have any motive to kill her. Really? Robbery is a motive. That Crystal is a liar beyond imagination. She lies when it matters. She lies when it doesn't matter. She lies over things that are irrelevant. She lies over things that no one will believe. At the end of this trial, I ask you to cut this woman loose, find her not guilty, and send a loud, clear message to the state of Texas. We don't believe Crystal Cortez, and we sure don't believe her beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm going to ask you to find Brenda Delgado not guilty because she is not guilty. Thank you.
To lay the groundwork for Crystal Cortez, the prosecution wanted to show there were others Brenda had also asked to carry out attacks, including her cousin, Moses Martinez.
This appear to be the baseball bat that she showed you?
I think, yes, sir.
What specifically were you supposed to do with that baseball bat?
She wanted me to hit her.
And Brenda's roommate, Jennifer Escobar.
She told me that first she wanted Ricky in a coma with the bat that is right in front of me. Also for Kendra Hatcher, an injection needle to put it in her back of her neck. She just wanted to eliminate Kendra Hatcher or even both of them.
Introduce yourself to the jury, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Dr. Ricardo Paniagua.
Now, the man at the center of the love triangle testified he had no idea that Brenda had been stalking him when he kept running into her.
At the time, I thought it was just coincidence.
No idea of the anger and jealousy building up in Brenda after their breakup.
We were platonic friends.
And Ricky had been staring straight forward and refused to look over in that direction and finally had to.
You see Brenda Delgado in the courtroom today?
Yes, sir.
And Brenda, who had been staring straight forward, turned and looked at him.
Can you, and I understand it's difficult, can you point to her and describe an article of clothing that she's wearing?
And just for a few seconds, they locked eyes.
She's at the end of the desk, and she's wearing a dark jacket.
Your Honor, we'd ask that the record reflect this witness has identified the defendant in open court.
Record will reflect.
Pass the witness.
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in this cause will be the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Crystal's testimony was very important. She was very believable to me. She admitted on the stand that she was part of a capital murder plot. She admitted that she drove the vehicle.
Are you guilty of the capital murder of Kendra Hatcher?
Yes, I am.
Is Christopher Love guilty of the murder of Kendra Hatcher?
Yes, he is.
Is Brenda Delgado guilty of the murder of Kendra Hatcher?
Yes, she is.
Will Brenda Delgado discuss Ricky and Kendra Hatcher to you?
Yes.
What was the discussion?
She wanted to get rid of Kendra Hatcher
And why did she want to get rid of Kendra Hatcher?
because she was envious of her.
And then describing what was happening in the parking garage, as seen on the surveillance camera footage.
Miss Kendra comes in and she parks catty corner to where we park. And Christopher Love gets off the vehicle through the driver's side in the back. And he exits the vehicle, closes the vehicle, and he approaches Kendra. And I didn't see him kill her, but I heard the shots fired. He ran into the Jeep with Kendra's belongings, her purse, and a Nikon camera.
Why does he have those items?
Because Brenda wanted it to make it look like a robbery gone bad.
Did you get paid for this?
Yes, I did.
What did you get?
I got $500.
And who paid you?
Brenda did.
And that was in exchange for committing this murder of Kendra Hatcher?
Yes.
We find that you're lying to us. If we were able to confirm that what you're telling us is not truthful, you understand the consequences of that?
Yes, I will possibly face a death penalty.
That's the part that's really key, and I can't wait for the defense to cross-examine her. That's what we're all waiting for, because this is the prosecution's star witness. Their whole case really, really centers around this woman. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Right now, Crystal Cortez on the stand under cross-examination, so the defense is pulling out all the stops to discredit her testimony.
You said you did not tell the whole truth. Do you recall that?
Yes. I told them half the truth.
As you get cornered like a rat, you start telling another lie.
I object to the characterizations of Mr. Miller.
As you get hopelessly caught in one lie, you start telling another one, correct?
Sometimes. When I was being interviewed because I didn't know what to say and what not to say.
The more the defense tried to poke holes in her story, the more I believed her. And it was really apparent to me that she was like a 20-something-year-old single mom. She was not the mastermind of anything. She was not the brains behind anything.
Christopher Love is obviously a very horrible, evil person, true?
I would say so, yes.
And if you were gonna do something, if you saw an opportunity to rob some rich girl and get all the money, whatever she's got, what greater opportunity than for you to rob Dr. Hatcher with Christopher Love, knowing that if anything ever happened to Dr. Hatcher, it ain't you who's going to get blamed. Brenda Delgado is the one they're going to look at because she's told everybody but Santa Claus that she doesn't like Dr. Hatcher, and she wants to still be with Ricky. True?
I would say yeah.
That's witness.
Would you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your name for court reporter?
My name is Eric Barnes.
In the final 2 days of the trial, lead detective Eric Barnes took the jury through his interrogation of Brenda Delgado.
It's inside the Dallas Police Headquarters Homicide Unit in room 2.
What does she appear to be doing right now?
Putting on makeup, I believe.
So at this point, what we're about to see is after 2 hours, approximately 2 hours of your interview, Ms. Delgado.
Yes.
What do we hear her say right there?
Oh. There was a couple times that I made eye contact with her, and I just wanted her to know that, you know, you may have tricked some people, but I wasn't going for it.
We are at the point of the trial where the defense is obviously resting its case. We do not intend to call Ms. Delgado as a witness.
I would have loved to hear from Brenda Delgado. I would have wanted to hear why she fled. Their theory was that she was an innocent victim, that she was set up by Crystal Cortez, but then so you stayed in Mexico for 6 months on the run until you made the FBI's 10 Most Wanted. What she was doing down there, if she was truly innocent, none of that showed up at the trial.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Genuinely, I do want to tell you, we want to thank you for your time and attention in this trial. That beautiful soul, Kendra Hatcher, she didn't know this way. Dr. Paniagua, he's broken up with her. He's moved on. He's let her know that he has a new girlfriend. He's not in a love triangle. The only person in a love triangle is her. And it's a love triangle she created. Didn't have to happen. The fact that it did happen is ridiculous. Kendra Hatcher's home. She's home right now. She's home in a box. When you come back with your message to that woman, the message needs to be, lady, you're never going home.
I don't know why people do what they do. I don't know why Crystal did what she did. I think we all know she's a fairly despicable human being. Because if it goes down, who would think anything but Brenda Delgado did this? She was with her. I heard her tell people all these things. They're not going to blame me. I don't have any motive to do anything to Dr. Hatcher, but Brenda sure does. The evidence here shows that there is clear reasonable doubt, and under our law that means not guilty. I ask you to find Brenda Delgado not guilty because under our law of the evidence, she is not guilty. Thank you.
Members of the jury, we stand in recess until you reach a unanimous verdict.
Somebody suggested that we just take a sample vote to start with, and somebody else said, let's raise our hands. I said, let's write it down on paper. We did that calmly and quietly. That first vote was 12-0. Some people prayed. I'm not a religious person. I just sort of sat quietly. Some people meditated. And then a few minutes later, I said, if you guys are ready, let's press the button.
It had been only 20 minutes.
All rise.
Please be seated. I ask the presiding juror if the jury has reached a unanimous verdict.
Yes, Your Honor.
And is your verdict as follows? We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant guilty of capital murder as charged in the indictment.
It is.
Thank you, ma'am. Because of the nature of the case, I'm going to ask you individually for your verdict. I'll start on the bottom row, the chair closest to the gallery, and go 1 through 12.
Yes, guilty, Your Honor. Yes, guilty, Your Honor. 12 times, right down the row.
Mr. Milner, your client having been found guilty of capital murder, is there any reason in law why she should not now be sentenced?
No, Your Honor.
I felt that if anyone deserved a death penalty in this case, I thought Brenda qualified for it.
But despite the verdict, Brenda's decision to flee to Mexico had effectively saved her life.
Mexico's extradition policy means you cannot be brought back to be tried under the death penalty.
Brenda Delgado, please stand. The jury having found you guilty of capital murder, you shall be transferred to the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, wherein you shall be confined for the rest of your natural life. Good luck to you.
I think justice was done. I think if Brenda had not fled to Mexico, she would have gotten the death penalty.
Before being taken away, she was required to hear from Kendra Hatcher's sister and mother.
I take comfort in knowing our God has given our Kendra the ultimate spot in heaven, a spot in which you will never see. You, Brenda Delgado, have earned your spot on this earth behind cold steel bars for the rest of your miserable, pathetic life.
My 5-year-old is her goddaughter, and I'm pregnant with our third that will never get to meet Kendra because of you, because of your evil, because of your envy, as Ace so perfectly put it. No matter how envious you were of any human being, it does not give you the right to destroy lives, many lives, your own family's lives, our lives, Kendra's lives, my children's lives. Who the hell do you think you are, Brenda?